Okay, everybody, welcome back to Psychology. Today we're going to be looking at Unit 3C, which covers genetics, evolutionary psychology, and behavior. So, first we want to get ourselves a little bit familiar with genetics. So, humans are made of cells, and each cell has genetic information that makes up our biology. In each cell, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes, totaling to 46 altogether. Half of these chromosomes are from the biological father and the other half are from the biological mother. Chromosomes themselves are made of DNA molecules. DNA is a complex molecule containing the genetic information that makes up chromosomes. It may be helpful to think of genes as small segments of DNA. So more on genes, we have the genotype and the phenotype. The genotype is an organism's total genetic makeup, and this is the list of chromosomes of an organism. The phenotype, however, is an organism's observable physical characteristics, eye color, hair color, etc. Because even though an organism might have a certain type of genotype, some of these genes may be recessive, and only the dominant ones, or a certain combination will result in a phenotype is basically what I'm trying to get at. Genes can be active, which means they're expressed, or inactive. Environmental events can also activate genes. For example, if you're genetically predisposed to being more creative, nurturing in a creative environment will encourage this genetic predisposition to be expressed. Behavior genetics is the study of differences amongst individuals. This field seeks to find an answer to the nature versus nurture debate. In other words, are we shaped more by our environment or by our genetics? And the nature versus nurture debate is a big question that comes up in psychology all the time. I think it appears in every single unit of psychology of this class. So when talking about behavior genetics, we want to talk about heritability. Heritability demonstrates the events to which a trait is explainable by genes. It does not allow us to measure the extent to which the trait will affect behavior in an individual. For example, if you place 3 infants in the exact same environment where they cannot interact with anybody else or see each other and examine them 18 years later, their differences would be completely due to genetics. In other words, the heritability amongst them would be 100%. So now we get into twin and adoption studies. As you can imagine, performing the experiment in the last example would be very unethical. However, scientists still need to study the influence of genetics and environment, so they study examples of twins who are adopted into 2 different families. So one child goes to one family and another child goes to another family. So now we want to talk about twins. Identical twins have the same genotype. Genetically, they are identical. Identical twins develop from a single fertilized egg, which means they're monozygotic, and because they form a single egg, identical twins are always the same gender. However, they have different phenotypes, and this explains why identical twins can have different personalities or interests. One twin may also have received more or less nutrients in the womb, which can lead to differences. Then there's fraternal twins, which develop from separate fertilized eggs, which means they're dizygotic, and generally fraternal twins are just like any 2 siblings, although they may look familiar. So the results of the twin adoption studies. Scientists only have a limited number of examples to base their research off of because they cannot ethically separate twins at birth. However, using the limited number of cases available, the popular conclusion to the nature versus nurture debate may be less exciting than what you're hoping for. The answer is that both environment and genetics play a fairly powerful role in individual development, but neither completely overpowers the other. People who are raised in a family of painters and musicians can still become engineers, and people who are raised in a family of engineers and technicians can still become painters. So that's going to do it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.